as we near the end of the semester, I want to remind all of you that just because the term is ending does not mean that your journey with creative nonfiction has to end. This is a practice, a skill, a hobby, a calling that you should carry with you throughout the rest of your life. If only because doing this kind of writing is very therapeutic. Yeah. So just a personal download of stories and thoughts can be a good thing. But I know for a lot of folks who take this class, there is an interest of what next. So now I've written some stuff or I've gotten into this idea that I like doing this kind of writing. What next? So just briefly here, I want to give you an idea. My number one tip for you from this point on is go to submittable.com and create an account there. It's free, and it is a place where you can discover opportunities for submission. And then you also can do the actual submitting through the website of Submittable. And it is so nice to have kind of, if you are, let's say you write an essay and you think, I've worked really hard on this, I'm very proud of this, I think there's something to this. So then you're like, but how do I know where to do it? So you can go on to Submittable and you see they have a whole page of discover opportunities. And on the day that I'm filming this video, you can see that there's a publication called Room, and they have a few things that don't have deadlines, but where you can just submit to them kind of on a rolling basis. But then you can see I'm filming this in the middle of March, okay? So you can see, oh, sorry to the last minute notice, but in the next 19 minutes, there are some things that are ending. Some submission places do have a slight entry fee just to submit your work. There's two schools of thought about this. Some folks say you should never have to pay to submit your work, but also if this publication is paying writers, like if your essay is selected and they pay you, say $100 for it, that money has to come from somewhere. So for me, I'm not mad at a sort of nominal submission fee sometimes, but I know there are folks who are just like, no, not at all. So anyhow, you can just see if I keep scrolling, it tells you when these opportunities end. But on the left, each of these is a different publication. Could be, like a literary journal, could be something more mainstream. And it tells you what they're looking for: poetry, short story, art, fiction, manuscripts, nonfiction, etc. Sorry for the cough. So you can find a whole bunch of opportunities. I also would remind you that many opportunities for publication in the world exist outside of what you would see on a place like Submittable. But these are all reputable, established kind of places who are putting out a call for work. But you know what? If you've written something that is, say, appropriate because it's kind of like a story about your spiritual journey or something, maybe your church newsletter runs little essays from members of the congregation. Contact the office at your church and say, could you look at this? Is my story something you'd like to share in the newsletter? Opportunities are everywhere. Because I'm a little bit of an anarchist at heart, I also would argue that, like, what what if what if you took to the streets with a can of spray paint? A lot of storytelling happens in graffiti. That's just me. But if you want to stay on the good and narrow, Submittable is a great, great, great way. And do also want to let you know that, like, the world of submission is a tough one because it's pretty much rejection. Yeah. So let me just show you. I haven't submitted anything in a long time because I don't know, life's been in my way or something. But so you can tell from the first few titles that I like to write about a theme. Yeah. Um, but here's where I've submitted things because I've seen they have openings or contests or whatever. But really, if you go down my list of stuff, it's like decline, 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 withdrawn, decline. Every now and then you get an accepted, and that's a big deal. But sometimes, I mean, I'll submit things 20, 30 places and it's just reject, reject, reject. That should be your default expectation, but you keep trying. And there is a kind of power and further education in attempting to shape an essay for a specific publication. When you see what their word count requirements are, when you see what their theme is, like we're accepting essays on hunger or whatever, then you think, oh, I gotta just like tweak some stuff in this essay. Oh, I gotta cut 1,000 words before I can submit it. All that is such good practice for you as a writer. So I would say if you only do one thing, if you are interested in taking your work further, get a submittable.com account and start looking at openings and sending your essays in, because even if they never go anywhere, you are still learning and you are still becoming a better writer. There are a few like online publication websites where I subscribe to their weekly emails, and so in my email I get their weekly roundup notifications. I like Plowshares. Colleges and universities around this country usually have literary journals or publications, so you can look into all sorts of places and find their publications. So Plowshares at Emerson College is very good. Look, you click in here and they have an emerging writers contest, Be Discovered. They've got fiction, nonfiction, poetry. And then it's open March 1st through May 15th, 2024. Again, when I'm filming this. So, I see that come into my inbox and I'm like, do I have anything to submit? And it's kind of like, no, I'm not in that headspace right now. Or yeah, I have this piece I'm trying to like kind of shop around. Hippocampus magazine, memorable creative nonfiction. So they do memoir, essays, flash fiction, interviews, this kind of stuff. So here's their submit your work. Hippocampus wants to publish and promote your truth. What do we publish? So then they tell you we do personal essays, memoirs, maximum 4,000 words. Submit here is a link. Flash creative nonfiction, which is fun, maximum of 800 words. Submit here. So once this class is over, I would love it if you don't just go kind of flat and dead in terms of your writing journey. And if you could just think to yourself, maybe you created something in the class where you're like, I'm going to keep spinning this thing a little bit, and when I feel like it's at a place where I love it, I'm going to see if anybody else likes it too. And again, I caution you just to be ready for the feelings of rejection. It's not about you, it's them. I will shut up now. But again, if you are into this kind of writing, if this is your thing, please get that submittable account.